May this reading relax your mind and awaken your heart. No, dear Stevie G, our protagonist does not know that she is Uma or Parvati yet. A joint statement captioned "Phoenix Rising from the Ashes" was issued by the government and Gerhard Green, aka Gerhard Industries, the evil and corrupt industry run by demons. The devastated refugee camp was to morph into a world-class industrial park that would bring jobs and prosperity. The state-of-the-art Sri Krishna Clinic, without which the numbers of those who had passed away would have been fourfold, was merely the forerunner of Gerhard Green's largesse. It's a new word for me. A school for 200 children was in the planning stage. As for the refugees, the statement insinuated they were the ones who brought such a disaster to the shore, and if captured, they would be deported. I raised a glass. Here's to you, Helmut and Jonas. Well played. Mission accomplished. The 4 red pushpins on my map can now be removed. My map, a blip in the fabric of time. It was around this time that Hari, Sid's friend and Padma's husband, paid us a visit. Miss Nandi, my Sanskrit teacher and the one who was letting me stay at Om Depot, was out, and I was dusting the bookshelves. Ganesha was in his brand new playpen, pushing around his many toys. How's tricks? Hari boomed, larger than life and impeccable in a tan suit, pink shirt, gold cufflinks, and two-tone brogues. He did not wait for a response, but headed straight to the baby, tickled his tummy, lifted him, and threw him up in the air. Ganesha squealed and shrieked. "Who's this?" Hari asked. "Muthu found him in a ditch." "Where's Dragon Lady?" "Out." He looked me over at my worn pajamas and kurta, flip-flops. "And who are you this time?" he asked. "Nobody," I said. "Suits you," he said. I ignored the implication. "If you're here for my map," I said, "there's no need for one anymore. The situation has stabilized. No more messy camp, but an orderly, brand new industrial complex that spews out who knows what." "Methane," he said. He was at the shelves, rocking Ganesha in his arms and intently studying the spines of the quote-unquote complete works of Jane Austen. "Is Padma with you?" I asked. "She must occupy an important position in the Gerhard Empire. She has completely given me up, and I get that." "Padma's not at Gerhard," he interrupted testily. "Their charities program has been shut down. She was offered a job in PR or HR or some such nonsense, but she wasn't interested. Also, Gerhard doesn't like me, thinks I'm out to ruin him. Let's hope he's right." He set Ganesha down in his playpen and dropped into Miss Nandi's armchair, which groaned in protest. "I addressed the UN Security Council last week," he said. "Made a proposal of sorts." "A proposal?" "Sorry, I don't follow UN proceedings." "No one does, but it's all we have, and where else can I go? My proposal, how to repair this planet, this speck of a planet within a speck of a galaxy within a speck of a universe. Inconsequential, but it's a pretty planet, don't you agree? Just look at this baby." I looked. Why mess it up? Hari went on. Why throw it away like yesterday's garbage? International cooperation. Yes, I know, an oxymoron, but that is what's needed. Natural disasters had been on the increase exponentially every year in their severity and number, he explained. Heat waves followed by devastating floods, earthquakes, avalanches. Bizarre, out-of-season storms and typhoons had become commonplace. Thousands died, mostly the poor and disenfranchised. Disaster recovery costs calculated by insurance companies run into trillions. He waved his large hands. I told those fools what they already know. Things are worsening, and finally, it will be irreversible. There is already a great extinction of species. This is not acceptable. Not acceptable? To whom? I asked. To me, he said. I inhaled sharply at this. You must find Sid. Warn him, I said, suddenly anxious. He's in danger. Sid can take care of himself, he said, running to the shelves. He found a copy of the Gita and opened it to a random page. I had a slide, he said, of the earth, a blue dot. I kept enlarging the dot slowly, finally pointing to precisely where and when a disaster could be expected with a high probability, which islands were likely to be swept away, which areas could expect torrential rains, the locations of wildfire spread, all conveniently marked and coded. And the reaction? I asked. The numbskulls peered into the map and asked, is that Category 5 hurricane destined for Costa Rica or Panama? Those fires, Zambia or Zimbabwe? You see, I did not have the names of countries or borders shown, and as long as a projected disaster did not fall within their borders, they lost interest. Is there a solution, or is this just a wringing of hands? I asked. Trees, he corrected. Trees? I asked. Trees planted in a wide swath around the equator. I smiled. That's your solution? Trees? No small matter. We'll require a gigantic workforce, but doable. How gigantic? Around 7.6 billion people. The population of the Earth. How do 7.6 billion people work together when 2 people can't decide what to have for dinner? It's already happening. People are already working together. He pointed to Ganesha's playpen. Take that plastic rattle. Do you know how many people are involved in getting that rattle from a factory in northern China to this particular spot? Thousands. The population of the Earth has to become a single coordinated workforce. A world workforce. That is an oxymoron, I said. It's completely in our self-interest. Toxins do not respect boundaries. If your neighbor is a polluter, you can't escape the impact, no matter how clever you are. Wealthy Brunei is right next door to impoverished Indonesia. When Indonesia set fire to the peatlands, the cheapest way to clear vegetation, a thick black killing fog ballooned up. The fog hung over Brunei for months, and people sickened and died. I understand, I said, but even if everyone agrees, who will foot this bill? The cost of a couple small wars would do it. And they agree? Dead silence. I was informed I had run out of my allotted time. They had moved on to the next item on the agenda. They said, there's a situation brewing in CAR, Central African Republic, one of the most beautiful places on earth, ravaged and taken advantage of by French colonization. And after independence, ravaged and taken advantage of by corruption and violence. "What now?" I asked. "Nothing," he said. "I'm off." "Did you want to buy that book?" I asked about the Gita, which he had held open in his hands. "I'd let you have it, but Miss Nandi keeps strict accounts and I have no money." He set the book down. At the door he reached into his jacket, and a fat roll of banknotes sailed through the air and landed on the counter. "Get yourself some clothes," he said. "Padma would not want to see you like this." I glanced greedily at the money. "I almost forgot," he said. He again reached into his jacket and produced a Rudraksha necklace. Not unlike the one I have here. "I believe this is yours." He came forward and handed it to me. Pardon me. I stared at the necklace, at the brown corrugated beads and the frayed green ribbons inserted at every 27th bead. The Rudraksha necklace that Miss Nandi had given me at our first Sanskrit lesson. The one that I had flung out of the van down a cliff as I made my escape from Uttar Kashi. "Magic," I said. "The only magician here is you," he said, and left. Why don't we pause our reading of Moksha, liberation, there for now. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to see how the story continues as we read next year. Well, for me, it's 2024 as I'm reading. Next time I read will be in 2025.